It's April 11, and tomorrow night, Jews around the world will gather to mark the beginning of Passover. To mark it, Jewish families will come together for a traditional meal where symbolic foods and rituals help retell the story of the escape of their journey from suffering and oppression to freedom and hope. But this year, as Passover begins, it does so under the weight of war, of pain, uncertainty in Israel. It is the second Passover since Hamas's attack on October 7, 2023, a day that saw over 1,200 Israelis killed, 251 taken hostage. For the families of the 59 hostages still believed to be held in Gaza, there is no celebration, only absence. Their pain is especially deep during a festival, after all, that is meant to bring people together. Many tables will have empty chairs. Silent tributes will be paid to loved ones who are missing or who never came home. It comes at a time when Israel continues to wage the war in Gaza while also engaging in multiple conflicts across West Asia, with Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthis in Yemen, and the Red Sea, and the escalating tensions with Iran. And yet, amid all this, Passover still holds a message that transcends those who would make faith into a source of division and conflict rather than harmony. It's not widely known that the story of the liberation of Jews from Egypt is also celebrated in the Quran. In Islam too, Moses, or Musa as he is known in the Quran, is a revered prophet. Muslims also believe in the liberation of the Israelites from Egypt and recognize the moral of the story, that is overcoming tyranny with faith, with patience, and with perseverance. And it is this shared reverence that creates an unexpected but important bridge, a common ground between Jews and Muslims, especially in these fractured times. You see, both faiths believe in Abraham as the founding father of their faith and a prophet of the one God. Both honor many of the same prophets, and both carry stories of survival through hardship. So while Muslims do not observe Passover the same way, many still recognize its spiritual as well as historical significance. For some, the message of liberation and unity resonates deeply, not just as a religious ritual, but as a universal truth. And today, that truth feels more urgent than ever, when the pain and punishment of Israeli bombardment in Gaza has taken a toll of thousands upon thousands of children and women, innocents in a brutal war. The Gaza ceasefire has collapsed. The fighting has resumed, as Israel has vowed to continue with its military operation until all hostages are returned. Hamas says it will not release the rest without a permanent end to the war. And so once again, families of hostages take to the streets, pleading with Prime Minister Netanyahu's government to cut a deal, even if it means withdrawing from Gaza entirely. In his Passover message, Netanyahu has acknowledged their grief. Listen in.
Together we will return our hostages. Together we will defeat our enemies. Together we will embrace our wounds. And together we will bow our heads in memory of our fallen.
Meanwhile, in Gaza, the human toll continues to climb, and according to Gaza's health ministry, the Palestinian death toll has crossed 50,800. The hospitals are overwhelmed, medical supplies are running out, humanitarian aid is blocked, and in the occupied West Bank, Israeli military raids have only intensified. Homes have been destroyed, families displaced, and the tensions continue to mount. In Iran, military leaders speak of strength and divine victory, invoking the same language of faith and confrontation. On Thursday, Iran's rear admiral said, and I'm quoting here, "The devil seeks a direct confrontation at sea, but with God's help, we will defeat and drown it like the people of Pharaoh." An apparent reference to the biblical story, again to the same ancient story, the Pharaoh who was a tyrant, and his soldiers were drowned in the Red Sea while chasing Moses and other Israelites. So the Iranian general here is using the same biblical reference to now say that the tyrants in this war, by which he refers to the US and Israel, will be drowned in the Red Sea again, while Iran will emerge victorious. The story of the Exodus is part of all Abrahamic traditions, where Jews, Christians, and Muslims share so much in common, and yet religion, which should have ideally united us all, instead has become a major point of contention. The story of Passover also is part of the biblical traditions. So as Jews mark Passover this weekend, perhaps there is room, even in grief, even in conflict, for a small act of reflection, a reminder that sometimes the stories we think divide us are the very ones that can unite us. What if you were told that owning a pet could lift your mood just as much as your spouse or landing a six-figure salary? A study from the UK has found that having a cat or a dog in your life might bring as much joy and life satisfaction as being married, and even rival the happiness boost of receiving an annual income hike of about $90,000. Researchers from UK's University of Kent analysed data from over 2,500 households across Britain and found that pet owners reported a noticeable rise in their emotional well-being. On a satisfaction scale from 1 to 7, those with pets saw a 3 to 4 point increase. And to assess this, researchers used a unique method called the life satisfaction approach. It's basically a tool that economists often use to assign a financial figure to things like clean air, green parks, or in this case, having pets. The lead author behind the study said she was inspired by earlier work that estimated the economic worth of friendship. And while she admitted that comparing pet companionship to a hefty salary hike might sound far-fetched, she clarified that if people can place a value on seeing friends once a week, why not also on having pets? Several reports and studies have linked pets to boosting physical health, as dog owners often walk more, stress less, and children who grow up with animals tend to have fewer allergies. During the COVID-19 pandemic, studies also found that dog owners felt more loved and supported than those without pets, even when both had regular human interaction. Now, this new study perhaps pushes the conversation even further that pets might be doing more for our mental health than we ever imagined. And our next story is about China's military shake-up. President Xi Jinping has reportedly dismissed the number 2 general of the Chinese army, a move that has been considered one of the most dramatic moves in Xi Jinping's ongoing anti-corruption crackdown. And according to reports, General He Weidong, one of the 2 vice chairs of the 6-member Central Military Commission led by Xi Jinping, has recently been removed from his position as the second-ranking officer in the People's Liberation Army and third in command of the Chinese military. He is also a member of the Politburo of the Communist Party. And most importantly, his dismissal marks the first time in 6 decades that a general in this role has been removed. And this is just the latest in a series of purges that Xi Jinping has conducted against military officials accused of corruption. You see, He Weidong's ouster comes merely 6 months after Xi Jinping suspended Miao Hua. He was another top officer in the Central Military Commission. He was fired over quote-unquote, serious violations of discipline, which is a phrase that has been typically associated with corruption in the military context there. However, what's different in the latest case is He Weidong's seniority. In recent weeks, speculation about He Weidong's fate intensified due to his absence from several key events that are typically attended by a CMC vice chair. Most notably, he was missing in a recent Politburo meeting on Chinese diplomacy. And he also did not take part in a high-profile annual tree planting ceremony led by Xi Jinping. Another even that he had attended the previous year. Now, reports indicating that He Weidong has been interrogated by authorities since his detention. And if the reports are true, He Weidong's dismissal would be the first of a uniformed vice chair of the CMC since General He Long in 1967. Over the last 2 years, Xi Jinping has also removed the leaders of the PLA rocket force who oversee China's nuclear arsenal. Xi Jinping has also fired 2 of his defense ministers in the last 2 years, Wei Fenghe and Li Shangfu. In China's military hierarchy, the defense minister's role is more diplomatic and lacks the power of the CMC's military leaders. Still, Qin Gang, who was considered a close aide of Xi Jinping, was also dismissed from his position as foreign minister. What do these moves suggest? According to experts, the fact that Xi Jinping purged a CMC vice chair shows just how serious he is about eradicating corruption within the military. But is there more to it? Analysts also argue that Xi Jinping aims to reform the PLA into a more effective fighting force, capable of projecting power beyond China's borders, all the while ensuring its complete loyalty to his domestic agenda. Remember, in China, the PLA plays a fundamental role in upholding the party's rule, particularly during periods of domestic uncertainty. Say, for example, the economic shocks resulting from the US-China trade war. Well known for its world-class education, the prestigious University of Cambridge is introducing a unique measure for its undergraduate students that focuses on their well-being. The university is saying it will stop disclosing exam rankings to reduce stress among students. This is significant, as scrapping the centuries-old tradition of telling students their exam rankings will basically prevent them from comparing their year-end marks with the rest of their peers. And under the proposed move, students can ask their academic supervisors privately for their ranking, while the university will continue to reward top performances with a prize. Not just that, the new measure also seeks to overhaul the conventional teaching process to safeguard the mental health of students. And besides this, other provisions like banning lectures on weekends and fixed class hours are also a part of Cambridge's review process, aimed at creating a healthy work-life balance across the campus. However, not everyone is happy with the proposed move. Among them are academics who believe that this will hurt the competitive streak among students and lessen the value of the degrees that are earned through rigorous academic programs. Cambridge is a high-ranking institution with a long-standing reputation for academic excellence that gives the students a lot to live up to, and this means there is pressure, of course, on them to perform and even outperform their peers. It's also the only university in the UK to follow a model of a class ranking system for all subjects, closely followed by the University of Oxford. This has particularly raised speculation of a culture of overwork that plagues student life, inducing stress, anxiety, depression, burnout. A 2020 survey by the Student Union found that 62% of Cambridge students claimed the intensity of the academic workload at the university was getting in the way of making and keeping friends or keeping up a normal life. Last year, another survey said almost 60% respondents were unable to complete the amount of work they received while maintaining a good standard, which is why the proposed measures, like the one stated above, could change that for the better. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.